This podcast is brought to you by the Anime Addicts community. And if you want to join the community, become an anime addict, and support the podcast, you can go to our Patreon page, or you can go to our website, AAAPodcast.com/join. You're going to get all sorts of extra content. I just released a hentai episode that I thought might get the podcast banned forever off Apple. So that was interesting. We'll have to see what happens. That's in the hentai episodes. You're going to get the Hobby Addicts, where we talk lots of video games. And of course, we do the after parties where we hang out with you after the show, give you a little extra love. Again, if you want to support the show, it's Patreon or our website, AAAPodcast.com. And now it's time to start the show.
何よ、Anime Addicts Anonymous のライブブロードキャストやってるって言ってるでしょ。聞きなさいよね。You are listening to the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast. Make your anime addiction worse at AAAPodcast.com. And now, here are your anime addicts.
Welcome into another episode of the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast. My name is Mason, and this is our 814th attempt to make your anime addiction worse. We hope anywhere, where you are, out in the world, you're doing well, taking care of yourself, being healthy, but especially my good friends in America, where we are recording this at the end of January. Winter Storm Fern is rampaging outside. Hope everyone is staying safe from the dangerous snow, sleet, and ice. And to keep you cozy and warm, we got the two best boys with me today to talk anime with you. We got the good Raggedy, who's looking so clean, so fresh in his brand new digs. Heat's back on. How you feeling, my guy?
I'm feeling. I don't know what to do with this room. I'm used to being stuck in the recording closet and not being able to extend my arms. Now I can really do the dances.
Oh my goodness, we are about to see dances at the levels that we've never seen before. So if you want to check that out, make sure you're watching live on Twitch or YouTube, wherever you prefer, where we stream this podcast live every Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern, and it's a good time. But also, we got one more boy who also has plenty of room for dancing. It's the good Sir Otaku. How's it going?
Oh, I'm doing great. The weather outside is frightful. I think we've got about 8 inches here in the greater northern Maryland right now, and we've transitioned to sleet. So it's gonna be a fun ride into work this evening for your favorite detective. But other than that, excited to talk nothing but cool anime with my boys.
I was gonna say we gotta slam through this episode because we have a lot of big things to talk about, and every second we waste, the snow piles higher, and it's gonna make my back hurt as we have to shovel it. But nonetheless, appreciate everyone being here. So we'll get through the housekeeping really quick. As always, check out our website, AAAPodcast.com. That's where you can find the links to our Discord, where we got anime clubs where they're watching Yu Yu Hakusho. So if you like that show, check it out. We got watch parties with the new season coming out. Oh, it's so much fun. And all the other things going on. Bonus content. Follow our socials for all the goodness. You know what it is. You're not a rookie around here. Big topics today. We're doing an ins and outs of 2026. It'll be a fun topic talking about what we want to see more of and less of as we go into the new year, as well as the start of our winter 2026 seasonal impressions. We got a lot of good shows. Hell's Paradise Season 2, Fate Strange Fake, Chain Soldier Season 2, Sentenced to be a Hero, Dark Moon, The Blood Altar, The Darwin Incident, and Scum of the Brave. So a lot to get through today, as well as some big news of the week. Anything else before we get going? Let's do it.
Remember, lift with your knees, not your back.
That's right.
Yeah.
おー、大ニュースです。It's time for big news of the week.
Which one do we want to hit first? Because there was a last-second addition to our regularly scheduled programming. So the choice is yours.
Let's
Yeah, let's do Dragon Ball
Yeah,
news first because
yeah.
we got our resident shonen slopper over here that who's chomping at the bit to talk some super.
Oh my goodness, that's right. Dragon Ball Super Season 2. It's back, baby. It's been 8 years, and we return to the most middling of DBZ arcs. That's right. I'm a little bit of a super hater, but it's okay. I still like it. I still enjoy it because I have a problem. I'm sick in the head, and you can join me being sick in the head on the Shonen Showdown episodes where me and Emery talk about these things. If you listen to our latest episode, which was released this week, you'll learn that Emery pledged to watch the original Dragon Ball. So we will be able to dive into all of these things, possibly in time for this new anime to come out. I am genuinely excited, despite the fact that Super was not my favorite of the properties from this franchise. I think when Otaku shared this with us earlier, I said I can't wait to watch Vegeta get cucked again. So I am looking forward to that.
When's Vegeta gonna get blue hair? Has he already had blue hair?
Yeah, he has blue hair.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know
Yeah.
if that was like, Goku always gets the cool thing first, and then he lets his little brothers play with the toys. I wonder if that. I have not watched Super. I am about as anti DBZ as you can possibly get. So this news has no bearing on my enjoyment of anything in the world, but I'm glad it's back for your sake. So I don't have to hear people whining when something that's not Super gets announced for Dragon Ball. So happy for you.
Supposedly, this is the because the name of this arc is the Galactic Patrol arc, which some may know as the Moro arc from the manga, which is supposed to be one of the better arcs for Dragon Ball Super. So, I mean, I guess we'll find out if it really is, because I'm certainly not going to read it because I can't.
Yeah, it's for the birds.
Did you see they also released a trailer? I guess they're redoing the earlier arc with the
Yes.
introduction to Beerus. So that's going
Yes.
to be a thing as well.
Which it sounds very similar to what they did with One Piece and Fishman Island, where they go back and kind of retouch up, fix the pacing, fix some of the animation. So it's just, I mean, I don't know how necessary it is, but I mean, better is better, I guess.
I'm going to
Good
watch
point.
it. I know if Mason already hates DBZ, Super is certainly not going to help his opinion, especially.
No.
Well, like I said, I'm not here to
Definitely.
rain on anyone's parade, but I'm glad that's happening. But what's the other big news we got this week?
Well, I think we can just jump right into it about the big strategic partnership that was announced between Netflix and Studio Mappa. I think we all saw the writing on the wall for the past couple of years with all the Mappa exclusives that Netflix kept landing. But this is the first time where they've basically put pen to paper and that Netflix and Mappa are going to have this exclusivity going forward. So it just, we knew it was coming. The behemoth that is Netflix, the Godzilla that it is, cannot be stopped. And anime was just, it was an inevitability. I am interested the fact that Mappa was the first to jump in with them. But again, like I said, with all the exclusives that they've gotten, I'm not surprised. How do you guys feel about this?
I feel like I could be wrong here. I haven't looked quite into it. I feel like they already had a bit of a agreement prior, and I feel like other studios like Science Saru have already, like, I feel like this isn't the first time we've seen of it. And reading the news, it doesn't say all MAPPA anime are going exclusively to Netflix. It's like select properties. So there still probably won't be an all-encompassing monopoly on MAPPA shows with Netflix, but nonetheless, it's just reinforcing their commitment to anime, to one of the biggest studios in the world, maybe the biggest, arguably, in 2026. So does it irk me? No, because I feel like you said, the writing's been on the wall. We've kind of already seen this behavior taken place for the last 4 years or so. So not surprised. I don't know. I guess I don't get what the big news is here, because
Well,
it's kind of been happening. It's just more
if
money.
if
But
I
go ahead.
may,
Yeah.
I think the most interesting part about this story is not necessarily the partnership itself or what it means from a legal perspective. It's the logic behind it. Because if you read through the CEO of Mappa, Manabu Otsuka, he was basically talking about the reason for this was that anime needs to start looking more and more global, which we've had discussions on this podcast before about like, what counts as anime, what doesn't, and what's the focus, what should it be for, and all that stuff. And it seems like Mappa is taking that more global approach, which may start expanding to, even beyond just distribution, but collaboration creatively. And it's more about the direction the studio seems to be going, and that's what this more indicates to me as like the interesting news tidbit.
I agree, but a thing that piques my interest mostly is I at the end of the day I want to follow the money. So this strategic partnership, obviously, there's going to be dollar signs involved. How is this going to impact the level of quality for these future projects? How many episodes are they going to be? I feel like with westward expansion with anime, you're going to need more money because I always feel like, and we'll talk about it later with our ins and outs, but production delays, I would assume a lot of it falls into probably financial pitfalls, not having enough time or employees to finish certain things by a certain time. So maybe with this strategic partnership, there's going to be more money available, which means there's more artists, which means there's more content. I truly see it as a win-win for the community in the end because, like you said, it's not blanket exclusivity, but it is going to be exclusives for future projects. So I'm curious to see like what are those future projects? How many episodes are we getting? Are they going to be theatrical? Is it just streaming? It's going to be interesting to see where it ends up when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I was curious if I could look ahead at Mappa's like upcoming slate of shows that they've announced on my anime list to kind of get a feel for, did I feel like they saw the writing on the wall and changed their upcoming schedule? And they really don't have much planned for 2027 as of right now. Obviously, they're going to be putting out a bunch of stuff because that's what Mappa do. But it's too soon, I think, to see looking forward. But it'd be very interesting if, 2 years from now, we kind of look back and say, okay, Mappa came out with these shows since that deal got announced, since this bigger influx came through. Did we notice any difference in trends, in quality, just a general retrospective on if we really think this made any reasonable difference outside of just the normal progress of anime culture and what things are going towards. So it'd be interesting to kind of go back in time, find these kind of big landmark deals, and really see, like, did this make any impact on the art? And my gut says no. My gut says that's not so cut and dry, but I could be wrong. I haven't really looked into it. So nonetheless, money is going into anime. That's a good thing. I just, as always, hope it goes actually to creators and not just production companies who are just business corporate units and not the artistic force behind these works that we all know and love. So that's my thought on it, but we'll see. Anything else?
The only other thing just to quickly mention is as an update to a previous story is that Netflix is now updating its Warner Brothers bid to an all cash offer. So just they got the money.
All nickels, just slamming bagfuls on the table.
Actually, it's going to be pennies, and when the penny goes obsolete, they'll really be the ones who have won out.
Yeah, exactly. They're just dumping out the biggest colossal couch of all time and just shaking it for change. And that's what they get. But no, thank you guys for the big news. I think it will be interesting to see how Super holds up. Sounds like we're thinking season 2 will be better, and we'll see what happens with Mappa and Netflix in the coming years. So get excited for that. But with that said, let's keep on moving things along to our main topic, which is the ins and outs for 2026. This is a trend I've seen kind of going around, and we're going to just sit back and let folks know here are the things we want to see more of in 2026, or the things we want to see anime get rid of, improve, whatever it is. A bit of the things we like, a bit of our pet peeves, and we'll go through it and see how many of these actually come to fruition over the course of this year. So who wants to kick us off with their first things we want to see more of?
I can go first.
Yeah.
My first in is more dark fantasy. I feel that anime for the past couple of years has really kind of it's kind of leaned away from less serious fantasies, especially with the dark fantasy genre. You can talk all day about how good Frieren is, but that's kind of not the norm. Most fantasy anime shows are usually tied in to some generic isekai storyline now, rather than some type of adaptation of a successful fantasy franchise, or remaking something that worked in the past. It After Clevites, I'm fully leaning into more dark fantasy, and I'm actually really looking forward to later in the episode when we talk about shows like Sentenced to Be a Hero. So I need more dark fantasy. I'm over sugar flavored isekai fantasy. Give me the dark, the gritty. Not everybody's going to survive. There is stakes for people because I just think it makes better stories. So I'm in on the dark fantasy, starting with this season's Sentence to Be a Hero.
Well, I think I'll springboard off of that because one of my ends was very similar, and it was just more fantasy in general instead of isekai. Like you said, Frieren, Sentenced to Be a Hero, Hell's Paradise to some degree, were kind of. I've always been a fan of shows that just take place in the world. This is how things are. Makes the stakes a little more grounded and visceral, as opposed to the isekai. I don't care about stats. I don't care about your leveled up screen. I don't necessarily care about numbers going up, as satisfying as they are, but it kind of makes this false veneer. And even things like ReZero, which are a great show, like, I don't really think about the fact that it was an isekai to some degree. Like, had he just been in that world, I feel like I would feel better about it to some degree. So I
will push back just on the ReZero point. That is
I
one
know.
of the few
That's
shows
not a great example. That one's good.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
Not only is it good, it actually uses the isekai element to tell its story, right? Like Subaru's growth as a character is tied to who he was and how the world is changing him. But
Agreed.
To your point, right, most of the time, that's not what's happening. Most of the time, it's just video gamification of television.
Of a fantasy thing. Like, just give me the fantasy. It's already there. That's what I want. It's better. If it's dark, great. I'm not going to complain. But less isekai, more fantasy. It's a small distinction, but it really does go a long way in my mind to make the show a bit more engaging. So give me more of that, please.
I'm going to take us in a slightly different direction and be extremely selfish with my want for 2026. And that's, I want more simuldubs. And in particular, I would really love it if more shows put accents in with their dubs as well. We'll again talk about that a little bit later with one of the shows that we are impressing on, but the lack of simuldubs drives me insane, particularly when you have shows like Jujutsu Kaisen that have a dub that releases 2 weeks later for no fucking reason other than to drive me insane. I feel like it's a personal thing against me.
Yeah, it's a vendetta.
I got Winter Storm Fern before I got dubbed Fern. Like, this is ridiculous.
So I am, out of the loop of dubs. I really don't even acknowledge that they exist in my world. What percentage, and this is a rough loose estimation, what percentage of anime get dubs to begin with? And then what percentage of those are even at the simul dub level?
So the percentage that get dubs is maybe, I don't know off the top of my head. It's probably 40%. I would wager to guess.
Okay.
It's a little hard because some of them are simul dubs. Some get dubbed like 2 weeks later. Some of them get dubbed like a year later.
Yeah.
For example, Takopi's Original Sin just had
just
a dub
announced
release,
randomly
dropped on Crunchyroll, 6 months after? So
let's just
it's a little
say
hard to keep
40% get a dub sometime during the season that the show is actually coming out, and at a quick enough pace where you could be part of the conversation.
That's probably if it's that, I'd say probably more like 30%, 33%, something like that, like a third. And of those that are simuldubs, there's a handful. But what's frustrating is, like, for this season, Dark Moon has a simuldub and Jujutsu Kaisen does not. Why? Who made that dumb decision?
Because the power of K-pop is eternal. That's why.
It's because they're accented and they're really British, aren't they?
Which I love. I do love
Okay.
that part.
A lot of British shows, Love Through a Prism, I think that's like fully out on Netflix. That's all like very British.
It is.
That's kind of funny.
It is.
Netflix is more likely to do simuldubs. They kind of either simuldub or wait till it's completely out and then release a dub. They did that with fragrant with not Fragrant Flower with Blue Box, where they like as soon as it wrapped up they then just dumped it. But yeah, I want more simuldubs because it just, I mean, yeah, you're especially if you're doing it anyway. Like, why not just let everyone be part of the conversation?
Now, in a hypothetical world, Raggedy, if you had to choose between simuldubs of middling quality or like a 3-week delay for notably better dubs, and you could only take one for all shows, what would you go with?
Well, I mean, if you're giving me a Sophie's choice and I have to pick, I mean, I'm going to pick the 3-week delay.
Okay.
The 2-week, 3-week delay is annoying, but I've been living in this world my entire life. I haven't known simuldubs until I was nearly a man.
Yeah.
Wasn't it Funimation that started it?
Yes, I'm pretty sure they did.
Well, I'm going to cut in line and jump in front of Otaku to kind of go with another thing that I want to see. And it kind of goes back to this Netflix putting all this money in to get MAPPA exclusives. But Netflix and a lot of places in general put in some more money to get better typesetting. For those who do watch subs, Netflix is so locked into you can only have your subtitles at the bottom of the screen and it looks like this. And you compare that to what obviously more devoted, loving, full of care fan subs do with different placements, embedded signs, different coloring of things to really draw you into the experience and make the subs part of the art and just so much more engaging. To have Netflix and Crunchyroll, while they do it in some occasions at some times, it just is weird to me that I'm paying for these services and then often don't even use them because I'm finding a better product in the fan sub community with their superior type settings. And why not do that as well? I want to see the big place, and I know it costs money and it changes their systems, but that's what I'm paying you for, is to make the best product. Please improve your subtitles and make them look good.
Which I think does tie into an out that both Otaku and I have on our outs list for why we're not getting that quality subtyping. I don't want to push the topic, but Otaku, if you want to, because you spelled it out more so than I did.
Are you talking about in the out?
Yeah.
Or the in? Yeah. So, I mean, we've covered it on an episode a couple weeks ago. The AI dubbing and yeah, I'm definitely gonna be leaning out. I mean, we heard what the tests sounded like, and I really feel that it got all of the hate that it deserved. And it was so bad that, if I'm not mistaken, Amazon actually this week advertised a creative AI position, and they just got flooded with so much hate for the job opening that they already took it down within 3 days of its posting. So it sounds like the majority of the community, we're all out on AI dubbing, and we're definitely out on AI animation, AI stories. Just take that artificial shit out of my cartoons, please.
Well, that's even not just the dubbing, but subbing too. Because, I mean, Crunchyroll had that controversy with that it was Necronomico, and something show back in the fall where they released like pretty blatant AI subtitles and got absolutely blasted for it. Again, very deservedly.
I don't know what show you're talking about, but in my head, I'm thinking of a show called Necronomicon, which is just cat-based Cthulhu monsters, and I'm in on that. On the other hand, I think I have AI in my in because I want a show that takes all the AI and has it all focused on that, because AI subbing, bad. AI dubbing, bad. AI animation, bad. AI writing, anything to do with AI is bad, and I kind of see it as a tainting of any show it's a part of. But they're going to push AI because that's what the cool thing is these days. So I want one show to just be the burden. Have all the AI in the world focused on one singular entity so we can just cleanly dump it in the trash and then no other show gets infiltrated. You want to do AI? Do it in this one little corner. It's going to be cornered off and everyone can do it safely and we can all just ignore it. But when you have a little touch of AI here and a touch of AI there and it just seeps into the industry, ooh, I don't like that. So one show I'm allowing to be fully AI and we can just move on.
Just hate on it collectively.
just ignore it. Just completely ignore it. Hate on it for 1 week, let it pass, and show the industry that we don't want it. We don't. Obviously, people are going to use it, and it sucks. But that would be my ideal on how AI gets implemented.
Well, let's make sure that it's an isekai with a minimum 4-sentence title.
Yeah.
Then we can really hate it. So
that also fails Andrew's misogyny test.
Yes. Yes. 100%. But just to kind of go further into that, my ins are localizers that translate correctly. I have been watching Love Through a Prism, and I brought this up on our Anne Shirley review. It was very refreshing to watch shows that just stick to translating what is said. I know this was probably a nothing burger on your radar, my Jewish brother, but it drove me nuts when when we're watching our girl Ogre recap, and it very clearly is a Christmas party. Santa Claus it's like ho ho ho, Merry Christmas, and in the subtitles it's like Happy Holidays. I know it's a nit, but it's just stuff like that drives me nuts. I hate seeing things like Riz and Giga Chad, and just stop trying to. I am in on the localizing that just translate what's being said. That's what I'm in on.
So would you be okay if the original script did indeed also include Riz and Giga Chad?
I mean, if it's staying true to the source material, then of course. But we all know that it did not. So
for now, give it time. Give the AI time to put the Riz in.
If we're staying true, then I'll embrace it. But it's one of my biggest nits, and I know it's probably small, and maybe I'm in the minority, but it just, to quote Peter Griffin, it grinds my gears every time I hear it.
Now, do you think same way, just to play devil's advocate, for jokes that wouldn't translate as well on a 1-to-1 scale, things that might need more cultural cues to understand it? I get that there's an art to translating, and we have to understand as non-native Japanese speakers, so much of a show relies down to just how one person translates things, and we're really at the mercy of it. But it's go ahead.
No, I agree. We both know that there's certain humor, there's certain references that just really don't exist in the United States that, you do rely on a localizer to kind of make that connection for you or drop something that would make sense to us. I think a really good example is, I would have hated to have been the localizer for say Bakemonogatari. With all of the different interjections and references and everything that they made. I know that I literally paused that show multiple times in an episode just so I could read everything, and then I would have to look back and be like, what are they referencing here? So yes, I'm with you there. I don't mind it if it's trying to help the viewer understand what they're getting, especially if there's no 1-to-1 culturally. But just I hate this mentality of make it your own. Just tell us what they're trying to say. That's all. That's all.
I too had to pause Monogatari to look up read the subtitle. Yeah. Well, what else, everybody?
Well, let's take it to somewhere a little more wholesome. This is actually not my in. This is a request from Raggedy Wife for the year of 2026, and I thought it was fun enough to include in the episode. And she wants more mascots. She wants more cute anime mascots because when she pointed this out to me, I realized, holy shit, we haven't really had any. The only one that I could come up with at all was, other than like, we've had Taco P and we've had oh my god, I don't know why I'm blanking on the name of the show, with the aliens that dressed up as like the mushroom guy. It was another Doraemon like riff with
The
I don't know
the
why I'm blanking on the name of the show.
Nisio Day to Day, that one.
Yes, Dead
Dead
Demons
Demons.
did,
Okay, yeah.
that one. So we've had like those kind of like riffs on them, but that's not really like the point. The closest one besides that I could think of was Pochita from Chainsaw Man, because he's just the goodest boy. He's
Yeah.
so adorable.
Mhm.
But that's kind of it. Like, we've lost our Pikachus. We don't have like Happy from Fairy Tail. We don't have like these like little cute anime mascot characters. And I think some of that's because the isekai has gone very hard into the video game and the fantasy is getting darker, so there's not as much room for those, but I kind of miss them.
You're not wrong. I'm browsing like the seasonal charts for the next couple seasons to see like what could even be considered like a mascot for a show. And there's really, like you said, not a clear-cut example, for better or for worse. And if anything, we get more mascot side characters. I'm thinking, once again, we're bringing it up a lot, but Sentenced to Be a Hero, like there's the goddess character who's kind of the peppy, squeaky animal companion in a sense, but like
Yeah.
it's still really
Oh, no.
a character more than anything else. So
And
this is a
very
good one.
very specifically, when I was trying to come up with like mascots and I was having this discussion with my wife, she goes, they've all been replaced with just like these like tiny little cute girls. There's Anya, there's the goddess, there's like all these just like little girl characters. There's no animals.
Ebisu
I will-
for Dora Hedoro.
I will say though that we are going to this year get a main character who is a mascot, and it gets overlooked, but I know I'm correct in this, and that's Rimuru in slime form. He is absolutely a
That's true.
mascot. He's everywhere. Like, even in Korea, when I went to visit Korea this year, there were still tons of slime Rimurus all over the place. So that's
So
probably
in for
that's the only
2026.
one.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good idea, good call. Bring back at least non-annoying mascots. We want the Appas of the world. We want that kind of stuff.
The Pochitas. We want the Pochitas.
Yeah, we want more Pochitas. Just put Pochita in every show, and I'm locked in.
All right. Since we're staying in the wholesome realm, I'm going to go to one of mine. I am in on ROMs with actual progress. Maybe I've finally been withered down over my 40 plus years of watching anime, but I need ROMs with actual romance in it, not the slow burn to maybe a hand touching or an agreement to finally go out on a first date. I need more fragrant flower, and even though I'm a fan, yes, I'll say it, less Elisa hides her feelings in Russian. I need more of that, like, hey, we're interested in each other. Let's establish that early. Let's start doing stuff. Let's get, and then just see how they grow as a couple, rather than just this slow grind through 12 episodes to will they, won't they?
12 episodes is very generous.
It's very generous. I mean, you're correct about that. At least 12 episodes. So give me the ROMs with the progress. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Do you like extra ROM in your rom-coms?
I mean, I'm always down for the romance. Last year there was Can You Keep a Secret, which I think I was like the only one watching that show. I feel like, because it wasn't like a great show, but again, there was like an actual like romance throughout the entire series. There's someone on the Discord I've spoken to about this before, where his feeling is that the problem with these shows is that they're all about the chase. They're all about that kind of that's the drama that drives the show. So you need I don't fully agree with that, but I can certainly see it for most shows. So you do need something to then be that tantalizing aspect. So for Can You Keep a Secret, it's the fact that their relationship is a secret and no one else can know about it. So I think instead of just repeating the same light novel rom-com scenario over and over again, they can also make the stories more interesting by exploring other ways to make it dramatic beyond just the chase itself.
That's why I maintain that Surrey Children is one of the peak rom-coms, because in less than like 12 episodes you get like 7 full romances that are like fully fleshed out and like agreeable at like different state. Oh, it's so good. It's such a good romance show.
That's actually a really good
also
call
being a
out.
good comp.
I was gonna say I haven't laughed as hard as that show made me laugh in a long time. Like, for the show that leaned into both the rom and the com, the comedy part of that landed very strongly for me.
Well,
So
it's just
that's a great.
it's tough because so many romances, like we talked about, and people already know, it's all about those beginning first couple steps, and they micro focus on those for eternity. And the whole point of romances and relationships in general is that there is more to that than just the first meeting or the first hand holding. There's a whole lifetime's worth of comedy and amusement and interesting things that shows could explore, but they're just so focused on, oh, how do I get girlfriend or how do I get boyfriend? And at some point, there's more to be leaned out of the later parts of the relationship, and that's what we want. We want to see it progress along with everything. There's still room for comedy. It's not like you have to go all your stat points into romance to obtain this. Like, you can have balance, and shows can be better, and I would love to see more romance in my romance shows. What a concept, I know, but
Crazy.
here we are.
So how about something else that I think both me and you, Mason, want to see more of, because it kind of ties into both. I used a different letter than you. I used the V. You used the N. It's okay.
You're all about the V.
Hey now. Don't you tempt me with a good time. So I want more weird ass OVAs. I have been mining the OVA and ONA basement on Mal for our seasonal impressions, and sometimes I find gold, sometimes I find crap, but I always find something that's at least interesting. And I feel like the OVA and ONA space is where they get to be weird. And that's the thing that really drew me to anime in general, is to watch a story that could not be told any other way. You're not watching Takopi's Original Sin in live action. They're not making that's not a thing that they can do. Bullet, that kind of zany, wacky ass show, while not very good, again, is not something that you would see outside of anime. So I want more of that, and ideally I want more that are, good.
Yeah, I kind of bounced off of this as well. I love the wacky OVAs, ONAs, but the reason I put it on here is because, and I've talked about this before, but so often anime is made for TV, so you have a 30-minute time slot, take out commercials, take out your opening and ending, and you have about a 22-minute product, and fitting stories into set blocks of time does not always yield the best product. And ONAs, one's going to Netflix, one's going directly to the internet where you don't have that same restrictions, should be more flexible with how many episodes you have, how long your episodes need to be. You need a 45-minute episode 1 to really set the stage? Do it. Episode 3 isn't that interesting and it should only be 17 minutes instead of the 22? Do it. No one's making you make these very precise, articulated things that have to be so timed out that it actually ruins the experience by being too long or too short from the intended experience. I don't watch an anime knowing I have exactly 22 minutes to spare and I want it to fit that time. Mix it up. Tell the best story you can with however many episodes or how many length of episodes you need it to be. And I want to see more of that. And I think we were seeing a couple more extended episode 1s of this season already. Sentenced to be a Hero, Shibo Yugi, I think it is. So
Yep.
We're seeing that. I want to see that across the whole episode, or the whole season, I should say. So, I mean, once again, get weird with it, make the best product. I don't think anyone's saying no to that.
Well, and funny enough, we've also started to see more flexibility in episode count, right? Freyrin is 10 episodes, Medalist season 2 is
9?
9
Yeah.
episodes.
Heck
Like,
yeah. Now, of
it's
course,
just,
Medalist
yeah,
has like
let it rip.
a movie coming out like sometime after, which it's like, okay,
But
why
still,
couldn't they just do the movie in the? But yeah, fair. Do it. Do what you need. What you think is best.
yeah. I mean, and then you have even and like for the ONAs, right? That one you just mentioned before, which now I'm forgetting. I don't know why I'm forgetting all the names of shows
Shibo
today.
Yugi.
No, the art one on Netflix.
Oh, Love Through a
That
Prism.
Oh,
Yes, thank you.
That's
So Love Through a
20
Prism
episodes.
is 20
20.
episodes.
Yep.
Yep. Shiba Yugi's 11 episodes. Like they are starting to do more with the episode count because I think that is a little easier than the run times, but it would be cool if you could start to have more flexibility in both those areas.
I do say that, but
Absolutely.
I also have been so like drilled into the 22-minute thing that I started Shibo Yugi not knowing it was a double length first episode, and like halfway through, I was like, this doesn't feel right. Because I was just so tuned to like, where's the ending? Why is it still going? And then I like actually go down and look. I'm like, oh, it's actually this much longer. Okay, cool. And
Something is amiss.
I remember that happened with the like one of the ending episodes of Made in Abyss, where I was just like, why is it? This feels like it's going on forever. Oh, that's why. So do it for my sake because I don't like that. What else we got? Any outs? Any things we want to see go by the wayside?
Yes, I am out on any production delays. Stop. How do I phrase this? I just want studios to be a little bit more responsible. Like, if you're taking on a project, let's not put it in a seasonal rotation unless we know for sure it's either a finished product that just needs tweaking or you know you're going to be able to finish it because I genuinely believe that Zom 100 could have been more popular if its production delays didn't settle in. I know that this last season we had Chitose and the Ramune bottle, like that had production delays. I'm out on all production delays. Just get your shit together, have your product ready, and let's just not crush these franchises from time to time that it's just doing a disservice not only to the IP but to the fan base themselves. It drives me insane. And I know you guys are all hate production delays too. There's nothing more annoying than production delays.
Well, Bug Film seems to have learned their lesson
Witch
from
Hat.
Zom
Here we
100.
go.
That's right. Yep, here we
Ah,
go. Well, but they announced that it's done. They finished it. Like it's which I think is partially because they're like, oh, we better get ahead of this before everyone gets like all worried about the Zom 100 thing again. But I like that. I appreciate that they're like, oh no, this is a complete finished product. It's here. And I mean, if you remember the beginning of Zom 100, the production quality in the beginning was excellent. So if they did that for Witch Hat and did it all the way through, that's great. And I think I had Rush Productions on my out list too, and it does tie a little bit to another one that I have, which is the solo leveling clones. And the reason I'm tying them together is because there is this 5-year cycle that happens in anime production where, you know, shows are kind of locked in for the next 5 years for the most part. Like a lot of these studios have decided what they're doing, even if they don't tell us, which is why you will see this 5-year cycle of things that are very, very popular for 5 years based off of something that came out a while ago. So we're going to start seeing solo leveling clones. There's one already announced for this summer. It's like some Tomb Raider King show, I think is the name of it. And I think that does tie in with the production issues because they have this slate of shows that they're supposed to hit within 5 years because this is what's popular now and they have to cash in on it. So they rush the production to get it to air to catch up, cash in on it.
If
So
anyone
yeah,
doesn't
no more
know
of
what
that.
we're talking about, Witch Hat Atelier, spring show coming out. Much hype, much excite. So
yeah, you should read the manga. It's some of the best drawn manga panels that you'll come across in the last probably 5 years.
and that's why Bug Films better not mess it up. 'Cause everyone's gonna be really sad, like me. One out I want to bring up is the censoring of violence or smoking or dubious behavior with word shadowing. We've seen this for years. I'm thinking back to like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but even this season, actually, I think we're going to talk about it later. But the Scum of the Brave, where guys like kicking in another dude's face, and it would be really violent, but they just have like a big black spot on screen so you can't see what's going on. Like, either don't show it to me and let me use my imagination, or commit to the bit. So it's part of the whole like just overly censoring thing, and I get that. These are still at the end of the day showed on Japanese television, so I get that there's some restrictions, but if it should be so easy to censor it out, either make the cut to make it better, or just show me the uncensored version when it goes online, because it takes me out of it every time. It's so cartoony, and I don't like it.
Since you gave me a Sophie's choice, I'm going to give you a Sophie's choice. Would you prefer censoring with the shadows or censoring with the semen?
I mean, the semen is just funny. Like, if they did pixelated, like, at least then I get a laugh out of it. The shadowing is like their sense of like, it's even too dark for you. Like, it's still trying to be like that edgy kid in high school that wears the leather jacket and fingerless gloves. Like, no, man, just just don't.
For those who don't know, a lot of times the blood, especially in China, I think, is where it happens mostly.
Where they change it to white.
They change it to white, and it looks like people are just covered in semen. I'm
telling you, he's all
Yeah,
go ahead.
Another interesting that I never understood is, why is all vomit rainbow colored? What is that? Why?
I really hate that we're talking about this show so much so soon. But Sentenced to Be a Hero, episode 2, like there's this night character who's like queasy, and she like vomits, and it's like this off-white kind of grayish, and I was like more surprised that it wasn't sparkly and glittery and rainbow colored. I was like, oh my goodness, like it doesn't look like puke still, but like it's kind of not what people are doing. I love it.
We're closer. It means we're close.
We're I mean, I'm not saying I'm looking for for 2026 to be like photorealistic puke, because A, I hope I don't have to see it too often, and B, like that's gross. But also, I don't know. I guess I feel like puke is just often like a gag when it's done rainbowy, so it doesn't bother me. But I know what you're saying. You're doing it in jest. But I was surprised once again by non-sparkly puke, and that's a first sentence. It's the first time anyone's ever said that sentence. What else do we not want to see in 2026? Got time for a couple more.
I would like to get rid of sequel degradation. There is a common theme, especially amongst the less big shows. Certain ones, your Freirins, your Jujutsu Kaisens are typically going to keep their standard, because that is kind of what they are built on. But more often than not, when sequel productions come out, they know that they can get away with just chipping away at a little bit of that production value, little by little, time over time, season after season, because they got you by the balls already. They know you're gonna stick it out. And the thing is, to some degree, yes, there are people who are always going to keep watching. But you're
Dragon
still
Ball
lose
Super
people.
Season 2 coming your way soon.
Yeah.
Sorry, too soon?
Hey, they did 8 years of a break to prevent the production delay. Obviously, it was what happened there.
Sorry, go.
But yes, the sequel degradation needs to go away. You treat your audience with respect.
The sequels this season are pretty good, though. They're pretty good. They're pretty good.
They're getting better. They're getting better at it. I mean, even and because it's been, let's see, 49 minutes, and I haven't mentioned One Piece yet. So I guess it's no better.
Yeah,
time
season 2 coming.
Season 2 coming out, and it's looking like it's going to be sharp. And it actually does bring me to one of my ins for this, which is I want more seasonal shonen. That sequel degradation kind of has improved when shonen have gone more seasonal. They have more time to actually, put in the production effort, less filler, all that good stuff. So I'm in for more seasonal shonen.
And it's not quite seasonal shonen thing, but and as much as I hate when I see this happen, when they say, "Oh, it's going to be Beastar's final season, part 1," or season 3 of Jujutsu Kaisen, Calling Games part 1. Like, I'm like, oh, I just want the whole thing. But I know that with patience tends to lead to a better product. And in the long run, it just means I get something to look forward to. And as much as it stinks, as long as they're upfront with me that, hey, you're not getting the full product at this moment, I sleep well knowing that good times are ahead.
It's not a production problem with that. It's a naming problem where they just need to advertise it correctly.
Just be upfront with it. Let us know. Everyone saw the blowback that Attack on Titan got when they kind of didn't mention the part that we all needed to know at the beginning, and people seem to be doing that. So I'm all good with that.
And maybe it's just because I'm a little less patient, but one of my outs is the splitting of seasons.
No.
I'm out on the splitting of seasons, but to Raggedy's point, if it's just phrased correctly, you could probably overwrite that problem 80% of the time. And instead of calling something season 2, part 1, whatever, just call it like, okay, so this will be season 2, this will be season 3. And
they did it with Dandadan, right? Like Dandadan
yeah.
was season 1, season 2, even though when you watch it, it kind of feels like a core 1, core 2, but they just called it season 1, season 2, and no one really raised too much of a fuss about it.
Yeah, and Hell's Paradise is doing the same thing. I mean, season 2 is just a direct continuation, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, the total time lapse between the 2 seasons is supposed to be 2 days. So, like, yeah, it just, I don't know. I don't like the coring of things, but I guess I have to kind of accept that it's just comes with the territory of the industry these days. And if my quality will be better because of the coring, I guess I can stomach it, but I'm still impatient, and I hate the splitting up of things. So I can't have my cake and eat it too. I just have to understand that, but I've still put it in there because I wanted to vent.
I mean, case in point, Katanagatari, arguably one of the best anime ever. That was one season that aired once a month for an entire year. Like, that was like a long break between episodes, but technically it was all one season, and that's like the greatest show ever. So patience is rewarded. I just don't have it. Any other really big things we want to see or not see in 2026? Close us off.
I think we're good.
Yeah, I think we're good. I still have one on my list, but Raggedy kind of overrode it, and I'm going to drop it because I think that's where you can find space for mascots. I typically don't like episodes with the little extra chibi at the end because I feel like it's cutting into content, but I am also still a fan of cute things, so I'll withdraw. You can chibi it as long as we get a mascot or two.
That's a fair enough trade. And if you want,
the chibi needs to be extra instead of eating into the content, and then we're good.
Yeah. And if you want all the little extra things that we've written down in our show notes, but we're not speaking out loud because of fear of being reprimanded by your opinions online or time constraints, check our bonus content out, subscribe to that, and you get all our show notes where you get all the juicy details and behind the scenes stuff. And it's a plug. With that said, I think we are going to get into our news break, and we have a trivia question to leave you on while we do so.
That's right. So this week's in-show weekly trivia question is, so Dark Moon, the Blood Altar, is inspired by what K-pop group? Find out after the break. Welcome into the news break for episode 814.
Kicking it off, it was announced that The World is Dancing manga is getting a television anime adaptation this summer. And let me tell you, the announcement came with a trailer that has vaulted this to be one of my most hyped of the season, along with Science Saru's A Witch's Life in Mongol. So definitely give this one a pick. Such a mix of interesting art styles, and no surprise that it looks great because it's being done by Cygames Pictures, who are coming off an astounding 2025 between Cinderella Grey, The Summer Hikaru Died, and Apocalypse Hotel, some of my favorites of the year. This new anime is a fictionalized account of the early life of Oniyasha, the founder of modern Noh theater, and it's set in 14th century Japan. So if you're a history buff, love the arts, love just great looking shows, make sure you keep a slot in your summer watch party for The World is Dancing. Next up, moving into the world of manga, the Will Eisner Comic Industry Awards announced 19 honorees who will be inducted into the 2026 Hall of Fame, one of which is famed manga creator Go Nagai. And considering his wide impact in creation of various genres, this really should be no surprise. As the judges themselves state, from Mazinger Z, he created the first mecha robots, with Cutie Honey he helped pioneer the magical girl genre, and works like Violence Jack and Devilman were highly influential in bringing about more post-apocalyptic, dark violence, and psychological horror that was popular both in Japan and the world over. With this award, he joins the ranks of other mangaka such as Katsuhiro Otomo, Rumiko Takahashi, and Osamu Tezuka. So big congrats to Go Nagai for this. And in other award news, the Art Anime public ranking voting is now open, and they want your opinions until the clock strikes midnight on February 20th. In addition to the basic categories that you might normally see, Best Action, Best OP, Best of the Year, they have so many other interesting categories such as Best Cast, Best Side Characters, Best Cinematography, that makes this one of my favorite awards to not only witness, but participate in, as you might even hear some of the hosts from this very podcast make guest appearances at the livestream event on March 14th. So head on over to animeawards.moe to cast your ballot. And if you don't feel like doing that, just still check it out because it's a great resource to find some of the best shows of the past year that you might have missed out on. Once again, animeawards.moe, and make your voice heard. Well, that will do it for the news break this week. Thanks for listening, and now, back to the show.
You've burned through all your podcasts, there's nothing else to listen to, boredom is coming, and you still have the whole afternoon left at work to get through. How are you going to get through this? Well, maybe you end up quitting your job, you can't afford your rent, and before you know it, you're on the street eating tuna out of a can with Henrietta over by the Piggly Wiggly and pooping against a tree by the Chick-fil-A on the corner. Listen, you could have avoided boredom, you could have kept your job and said peace out to Henrietta and her shitty tuna. If only you subscribed to the AAA Podcast's extra content, we would have carried you through that afternoon all the way to your warm bed with anime on the TV, with our hentai episodes, our hobby addicts, and our after parties. 8 extra exclusive episodes a month just for you for helping out the podcast. So special thank you. If you go over to AAAPodcast.com/join or Patreon, you can help us out, and we'll help you say peace to Henrietta.
You know me? Of course!
Welcome back to the podcast. Oh, just had to keep on letting that play so we could see Raggedy and mine and Otaku's something resembling dancing. And when we last left you, it was with a trivia question. In Dark Moon, the Blood Altar is inspired by what K-pop group? The answer is ENHYPEN. I don't know if I said that right, but that's what it is. Neat, cool question. That was a tough one. Well, let's get to a special topic called Last Time On. If I can find the drop. Here we go.
Last time on...
Presented by Shonen Showdown. That's right. We're talking about Hell's Paradise today. We're talking about season 2 for the impressions, and as Otaku said in our previous segment, they just get right into it. So I want to make sure you guys remember, well, what the hell happened last time on Hell's Paradise, which was a Studio Mappa joint from spring of 2023. You can watch it on Crunchyroll, and since we're impressing on it, obviously that means it's already started airing. So, wife guy Gabimaru the Hollow, along with the rest of the anime Suicide Squad, was sent to the island of Shinseikyo to obtain the elixir of life for the shogun in exchange for a pardon. Accompanied by Sagiri, his personal Rick Flag, Gabimaru lands on the island and learns why no one has ever returned. The island is ruled by the godlike and nigh immortal Tenzin, their direct subordinates the Doshi, and, freaky monster dudes, also known as the Soshin, all of whom see to it that no human leaves the island alive. Something that I personally forgot until I went back to do this is that we learned that, the fabled elixir doesn't actually exist. Well, not yet at least, because the Tenzin are trying to create it by extracting Tau, or the fundamental life force energy connecting all things. Mastery of Tau gives the Tenzin their strange powers, and Mai, an island native, has begun to teach our heroes how to utilize this planty power. Will Gabimaru learn to control his Tau? Will the Tenzin be defeated? Or was the one victory at the end of Season 1 a fluke? Will Gabimaru remember that he even has a wife? Find out next time on Hell's Paradise.
What a great summary. I'm ready to go back and watch episode 1 now with that
refresher. Now that you know what's actually
now
happening.
that I know what's happening. I'm also ready for more dancing, though.
It's time for an almighty anime mailbag. Anime.
Mailbag.
That's right. You can submit a mailbag too, just by going to our website, www.AAAPodcast.com. Click that mailbag button and send us your questions, just like Billy did. And his question this week says, "Hey everyone from the AAA podcast. I've recently found your show and have been listening to it ever since. I've worked as a manager for a fast food restaurant for a couple years since I got out of high school, and I've hated it and have been trying to find something to do with my life. And more recently, I've decided on following my passion of working on motorcycles. So I applied for my MMI, Motorcycle Mechanic Institute, and I'm starting school in July. I'm super excited to start doing something I truly enjoy doing for a living. Also, big thanks to the AAA podcast for making my drive to work a little better than usual. So, in honor of this, what are some of the best motor rad featuring anime?" Mason, you want to kick us off?
I can. This felt like a very Enzo Senpai corner thing back in the day, where it's like, hey, just share with us your wins, your W's in life. We appreciate them, especially because we're starting to get a little low on the mailbag. So send in your questions, send in whatever you want, and we'll read it on the air. I put in this mailbag, and I put in my response, and I purposely left off some things from my list of great motorcycle anime, because everyone always complains, oh, Mason, you fill out your list first and you take all the good answers. So I gave you guys a chance, and no one put in Kino's Journey. And I'm a little disappointed because Kino's Journey is great. It actually has a talking motorcycle. So, Billy, if you could get on that, that'd be awesome. He's actually a moto rad. But anyway, I also did Super Cub, which is a great, surprisingly solid, relaxing little slice of life. Girl just has a little Honda Super Cub, and it's awesome. It's so good, and definitely makes you want to ride. And that's what it's all about. So check those 2 shows out if you have not already. An obligatory Akira bike slide, because it's really cool. Raggedy, what do you got?
Well, what I got is a warning. Please be careful on motorcycles. That is the number one driver of, not my business, so to speak, but at least some of my colleagues. So make sure you're staying careful with those. For my choices, my recommendations, one, which is the one I was surprised you didn't put on your list, and is Fooly Cooly. We got it. It's right there. It's right behind his head.
It's a scooter. It's a scooter.
It's a Vespa, so I'm going to count it.
It's a very cool looking Vespa.
And, I mean, she rides it like a truck. Truck, yeah. But the other answer I put on here, again, just showing my absolute brain rot, is Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, which Do either of you know what Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds is about?
I know you're about the V's and the D's this episode, my guy. That's all I know.
Right.
I don't, but I want to know.
So Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds is now, imagine your zaniest, craziest, kookiest Yu-Gi-Oh! Characters. Your Yu-Gi-Moto hairs times 11. Your Seto Kaibas, but he's even somehow more character designed, if that's somehow possible. Take those people, put them in a dystopian future where they are rebelling against an evil techno government status. And all of their way they're doing this is via, of course, card game duels. But wait, every single card game duel takes place via a high-speed motorcycle chase.
Yeah.
Every single time.
It's called Yu-Gi-Oh! 5 Dip, Dodge, Duck, Dive, and drive your motorcycle to drive your opponent's health points to 0.
It is absolute lunacy, and I highly recommend it just for the spectacle alone.
Now, does like the actual like playing area, is it like that on the motorcycle, or is it still attached on the arm?
It's oh god, now I'm forgetting where exactly it's attached.
Because like it would
They
kind of make
project
sense if like it's part of like the dashboard, if you will, and you play like on the
out. I feel like
motorcycle.
I have to look it
But
up
if they
now,
still
'cause
have the armband that like sabers out,
let's see.
that seems like distracted
I
driving.
think the motorcycle is what projects the like the game. Because they still have like this arm thing going on, but I think the motorcycle is how like the actual like projection happens.
What was the motorcycle? It wasn't Orange County Choppers. What was the name of like where they made like the custom cycle? Oh, can we get the Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D chopper is what I want to know. Can we make it happen? Can we manifest?
Maybe Billy can make it happen.
Billy, you have
Get on it.
our mailbox number. Please deliver.
That's right. All right. My contributions to this topic. First one, Akudama Drive. Just some really good action sequences involving motorcycles. Is it the best anime you'll ever see? No, but it's fun. But the one that I really want to lean into is Laid Back Camp, because one of the undersold parts of that show in its slice of lifeness is one of the main characters, Rin. The way she gets to wherever she's going to camp is she hops on. I mean, it kind of is more like a motor scooter, but it still could technically be considered a motorcycle. And she developed that love with her grandfather. And it's all about taking in the scenery when she's on that bike while getting ready to do the camping. So Laid Back Camp, I know it's not exactly leaning fully into the motorcycle, but I still think it applies. And I'll tell everybody till I'm blue in the face to watch Laid Back Camp because I love my best girls.
Great suggestion. And American Chopper is the show I was thinking of. Not anything related to anime, but there you go. It would drive me nuts if I couldn't pull that out. Yeah, Laid Back Camp. Go. And even good bicycle riding as well. All right, fellas. Are we ready for the big kahuna of the episode?
Yep.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Oh no, did I not put the impressions drop in here?
It's impressions time.
Believe it.
Oh no, we can make this happen. We can make this. There we go. We're doing it.
Today, we're going to be doing impressions.
Impression time, believe it!
All right, here we are. First episode of Winter 2026 Impressions. If you are new around here and don't know how it works, here's the big breakdown. Roughly 60 new shows come out every season, so we need to pare that down to just 9 shows to do a proper AAA podcast review of them. How do we get from 60 to 9? We tell you. First of all, we get rid of all the sequels past season 2. So if you're wondering why we're not going to talk about Oshinoko or Jujutsu Kaisen or Beastars or Yami Shibai season 16, it's because if you're watching these shows, you probably already know what you think of them. We've probably talked about them in the past, and we'll talk about them in like what have we been watching or other segments. So we won't be forgotten, but we're not going to do a review of them. Finally, we don't do really any movies or like 2-episode OVAs that aren't really a lot to chew into, so we're not going to review All You Need Is Kill or any movie like that. So over this and the next 2 episodes, we're going to be doing 21 impressions. Just watching the first couple episodes of 6 to 7 shows and either passing them, which means we're going to review them, we're failing them, which means we're not going to review them, and we're going to get 6 passes at the end of those 3 episodes. All the shows that we fail and all the ones we don't even do impressions on go out on a big list, and we give it to you guys. And you listeners choose the last 3 shows that we review. So we're going to be failing a lot, we're going to be passing a couple, and at the end of the day, we're going to have 9 reviews for winter 2026. Cool? Cool. Any questions? Did I miss anything? I feel like I never explain it well, but you'll understand what's going on. Let's start with our first impression, which is Chained Soldier, Season 2. It's back and boobier than ever. What is this show about and what's going on?
Okay, so essentially, the best way I can explain it is there is a world where our reality, our basically real world is defended by people that are able to combat in an alternate dimension. And if you watch season 1, the premise is that our our best boy in the show, Yuki, is the only male that is able to exist in this other realm with these superpowered females. They all have powers by consuming these special fruits that are in Mato, and Yuki's ability is that he is basically, it's called a slave ability, but he is able to transform based on whoever is holding on to the chains, his chains. So he's able to partner with every single combatant that is trying to push back this blight in this other dimension. And of course, you wouldn't have the ecchi element without the reward. So every time he transforms and does well, he is to be rewarded. And his rewards are definitely spicy, to say the least. So if you watch season 1, you basically, the kind of dangle to keep you interested is that his sister was taken by these evil monsters and turned into one, and he ultimately wants to rescue her. And this season is drawing you into introducing more of the different cores. If I'm not mistaken, I think there's 9 total of the groups that defend our realm in Mato. So you're meeting a lot more of the commanders from the different squads and their fighters as well. I mean, it really literally is just, if you watch season 1, it's more of the same. Fight monsters, get rewarded, ecchi ensues. What do you guys think of it so far?
Well, I think Raggedy did more research than I, so I'll let him lead off the show about the Changle with the dangle.
I mean, listen, the dangle for this season has nothing to do with his sister. I'll tell you that much.
Definitely not.
So I actually caught up on, I watched all of season 1 because I had not watched this originally to be able to do this review. And what I noticed about season 1 is that season 1 looked like ass. It just straight up did not look good. The art didn't look good. It didn't move well. They drew boobs, great, but like the show did not look good. And there was a switch in studio to Studio Passion, and if anyone's going to do a better job with ecchi material, it's going to be the studio that did Nukitashi. And I can avidly tell you that it no longer looks like ass. Unfortunately, it still looks like butt cheeks. So while we have an improvement, I still think it looks terrible. My other issue with this show is they're going for a Reese's peanut butter effect, right? That you got your shonen in my ecchi. You got your ecchi in my shonen. The problem is they're not working on each other. It's not a marriage of the two. They are 2 separate elements that play out side by side. So you have a shonen action scene for 5 minutes, then you have an ecchi scene. Then you have a shonen action scene, and then you have an ecchi scene. And they are almost entirely divorced from each other. as far as how they matter. I would have liked to see more integration. I would like to have seen something like, say, a reward scenario being interrupted by a shonen battle scene, or something of that nature, just to actually marry the two elements as opposed to just having these two separate things just kind of happening. They are each aspect of it I find middling, and they do not enhance each other.
I think that's a fair evaluation. I would also say, though, that at least so far this season, with the episodes that they've done, especially when Ren, unleashes her power, the fight sequences don't look bad. It's just not. It's not enough. Like, I get what you're saying. The ecchi is limited. I will say that the ecchi scenes are not super drawn out. There's more kind of comedy, and of course, everyone thinks Yuki is hot, and everyone wants to get with him. So you've got the typical harem thing going. But having said that, the fight scenes don't look bad. I'll give it that. The fight scenes look good.
It is certainly an improvement over season 1.
Yeah, so I had not seen Change Soldier like Raggedy, but unlike Raggedy, who puts in the effort, I just watched the first episode of season 1 and the first episode of season 2 just to get a straight up comparison on how did each introduce the world. And watching episode 1 of season 1, the opening had these like really goofy CG chains, and I was like, this is a sign of things to come. I was amazed at how bland the backgrounds are. This alternate universe of Mato, which is like a realmscape that monsters attack people in the real world from, so everyone's in this dream world to fight off the monsters before they do that. Mato is like the blandest place I've ever seen. It's just like nondescript rocky terrain with like a pink sky, and it's just that all the time. It looks hideous. And watching episode 1 of season 2, the opening started right away, and I was like, oh, the crummy CG chains are back on the menu. Like, this show has not changed at all. I was able to, I felt like I didn't miss anything. I missed 11 episodes of season 1, and I was able to pretty much perfectly follow along what was going on with season 2, which tells you all you need to do about the depth of the writing at play here. It's pretty shallow. But all that said, it's not a terrible show. Like, if you are a fan of High School DxD, High School of the Dead, Temple, like, you're going to have a fine time with this. Like, it is not purely trying to be sexy and actiony, but there is, like, some all-right comedy with it. And it's just, no one is, like, crazy. I mean, there's fan servicey, but, like, the outfits aren't outrageously revealing. Like, there is a modicum of taste. That
Mason,
said,
you've clearly just revealed that you were not watching the uncensored version, like I assume myself.
no, I just episode 1 doesn't get very far into it. That said, like,
episode 2 and 3 most certainly do.
they probably did. I'm just saying, like, this show is devoid of much depth or artistic merit, despite vast, busty assets. Like, the animation, the writing, the just general execution. It's just kind of whatever. And if you like season 1, whatever you thought about season 1, you'll think about season 2. It's just the show that it is. It's not worth really hashing out any further beyond this. And I think we're good to fail it.
Agreed.
Yep, for sure.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
It is an anime, though. You got to give it that. It is a show you find in anime.
It certainly is that.
The next show we'll talk about today is Dark Moon, the Blood Altar. And this show, I would not have gotten the trivia question on before watching it, because I had no idea that this was based around a whole Korean idol group that, like, got, I don't know, like, was the inspiration for this whole thing. This is on Crunchyroll, and it is a pretty typical reverse harem kind of thing of this girl who goes to a night school that the headmistress assures her multiple times there are no vampires here. Spoiler, there are vampires be there. And there's 7 of them, and they all really find a strange attraction to her. And I wonder how that's all going to play out. There's werewolves and other magical vampire powers going on. But it's a show. If you want to be a self-insert female character who just has all the hot babes just swooning around her, being all cootie patootie and resembling your favorite K-pop idol. So that's pretty much what the show is in a nutshell. What did you guys think of it?
The first thing that came to mind when watching the first 3 episodes of this was, am I watching Twilight in school? It's basically it's just Twilight in school. Everybody is mysteriously attracted to this girl, and it's like they're like, well, we can't reveal our identities as vampires, but I can't stay away from her. I'm mysteriously attracted to her. And the werewolves are the same. Like they have the same like once somebody comes across her, they're just like, I find her oddly alluring and I can't explain this allure, but it's odd. I must know more.
But it's Twilight, but if there was 7 Edwards and 7 Jacobs and
that's true.
It's 6.5.
6.5, fair. But just like if you like Diabolic Lovers, if you like Vampire Dormitory, if you like Vampire Night, it's just girl lives in a school with all these hot babes and they love her. And it looks so flat. It looks so bland. There's this ancient book that she has that literally says the title is An Ancient Legend, and it's like looks so new, and it's like not papyrus font, but it just looks so fake. The first thing I noticed, and then I'll let Raggedy actually share his opinion, is in the opening there's a scene where all 7 of them are like walking, and it's in such a weird, so synchronized lockstep that I just couldn't take it seriously. It's just the goofiest animation cut I've probably have seen of the year so far. And I know it's early, but man, oh man, this show, it ain't doing it. What do you think, Raggedy?
So my impressions viewing was it's Chain Soldier followed by Dark Moon. That's like how my day would go. So I would go from the male smut to the female smut back to back, which is quite the whiplash.
Yeah,
I will tell you.
Which one is? I feel like I'd go with Chain Soldier over this though, if I had to pick one.
So here's my take on it. First off, I do want to mention the dub because they made everyone British, which is a choice and weirdly fits, though they also are all Korean names, so it's odd. This show is certainly worse than Chain Soldier, but I am having way more fun with this show than Chain Soldier in a so bad it's weirdly enjoyable kind of way. There is nothing of real merit to this show other than just kind of clowning on it and, you know, recognizing the Twilight X7 memes and laughing at like the overly British people trying to pronounce Korean names. It's a bad show, but weirdly there is something I find enjoyable about it.
Man, there's a goofiness that is hard to express in podcast form, but just like when she's standing there and a rugby ball just like flies in her general direction and everyone flips out and covers her and like, oh, it's an attack, and like it's just snowplows going outside.
No, or even just the how completely oblivious she is to what is happening around her. Like there are active I know she has superpowers and is not a vampire, but everyone else also has all these superpowers and she is completely incurious about like how she's vaulted in the air like the height of a building by one character, or who has telepathic communication with another character. Just totally incurious.
I mean, I like that they don't hide the superpower thing at all. Like I thought at the beginning when they're like, there's no vampires here, we got to keep it a secret. I thought they were going to play it out like, oh, will they, won't they find out? And like by the end of episode 1, they're like showing off her powers. Like, see, look I can do this. And so it's bad. It's not a good show. We are going to fail it. I'm not even putting it up for a vote. Anything we want to discuss further on it, though?
No.
I'm sorry, Blood Moon, you did not make the cut.
It is a travesty.
All right.
Check it out if you want an unintentional laugh, though.
Yes, certainly. I think next we'll go into one of my picks for the season, and that is The Darwin Incident. This is a show about a humanzee, which is a half human, half chimp named Charlie. The show opens with the Animal Liberation Alliance, an eco-terrorist group, saving Charlie accidentally, because they didn't even know he was there, from this animal testing lab. And then we flash forward 15 years in the future, and we kind of see what he gets up to. He starts going to school. The terrorist group finds out about him and starts trying to get involved with him. And that's kind of where the story goes. My thoughts on the show, I was actually very excited because this seemed very odd, different. I have not seen really anything kind of like this before. And I mildly regret putting it so high on my list because I did not have a good time with this. It, similarly to the last two shows, it does not look good at all. It's animated very stiffly. The art design's not great. But the biggest problem with this is the writing. It is so ham-fisted. And I don't have an issue with what they're trying to do. They're getting into this whole veganism, animal rights debate, but it is unbelievably ham-fisted, which is funny for the vegan show to be so ham-fisted.
Hey.
I see what you did there.
But there's nothing, everything is overly explained, very blunt. They, there's a scene where they're in the cafeteria and someone asks Charlie about like why he doesn't eat meat. How come you don't eat meat? What's the deal with that? And his response was basically like, well, it's no different than eating people. Maybe I'm going to eat people. We'll see. Everyone gets all shocked and scared, and it's about as subtle as a bat to the head.
Remember that guy earlier, that imaginary person I was making fun of, the kid in high school with the leather jacket, fingerless gloves? Like, this is the show that he writes in bed at night of like, oh, if they tell me this, I'm going to argue like this, and I'm going to be the coolest kid ever. Like, this show is unique because it's different. It's more set in America. There's a very interesting slant to it. It's raising some interesting questions, sure. But to Reggady's point, it's not going to answer them with any deft capacity. Like, I am doubtful that the show is going to have the writing chops to make a compelling argument and realistic back and forth between people of different sides of this debate. So it doesn't look good. This is probably one of the worst openings I've seen of the year. I'd call it dog crap, but it's more like primate crap because the visuals on screen are so uninteresting. The song's actually kind of a bop, but like this opening is probably the thing that if someone walked in on more than Chain Soldier, I'd be like embarrassed to have on my screen because Charlie, it's just not a compelling character design. I do like some moments of it because he is a chimpanzee human at heart. Like at the beginning of the show, we see him like climbing a tree before school, and then later we see people at school like with their phones like video recording something in the tree, and you immediately jump to, oh, he's in the tree acting a fool. And even one of the characters was like, oh, it's a chimp dude up there. And they're like, no, actually, it's a fake out. It was very interesting. I was like, okay, that's winning me back over. But then we get like a palm to the forehead inducing like rescue scene where he like takes off his shoes, jumps through a window. So it's just like every time the show takes a step of like, we might do something interesting, they just buffoon it back. And this is a bit of a shame because it had potential. It is different. It is unique in some degree, but it's so stereotypical and artificial, and they really put the character in caricature, and just everyone is so blah. So I was not a fan. Otaku, what do you think?
So I had high hopes for this because I love the Planet of the Apes franchise. I grew up watching the original ones as a kid. As campy as they are, they're still considered to be, groundbreaking sci-fi. So when I looked at the synopsis for this, I was like, oh, they're trying to kind of go Planet of the Apes-ish in an anime form. Let me give this a try. And I got to be honest, I find myself siding with you two that on the whole, the writing it's inconsistent at best. The characters, for what they're trying to accomplish, aren't that interesting. I think really for the most part, it's trying something and it's missing the landing every time. So I can't really add much to what you guys have already said other than it's just not in a season where we've got a lot of good things going on. This one just misses the mark for me as far as keeping me interested. I'm already ready to drop it after 3 episodes.
I have so little faith in the writing of this show that if someone told me that the ALA leader, the African American gentleman, ends up being Charlie's real dad, I would not be surprised. That's how little faith I have in the writing of this show.
I think you might not be far off. No, yeah. I'm definitely ready to fail this.
Yeah, and even if the visuals were better, like, it doesn't excuse how the writing is. So with that, the Darwin incident shall not pass. Man.
All right.
Can we get some good shit,
tough
please?
cookies today. Mitch was like, oh, they're going to pass like 3 shows this week. We'll see, my guy. We'll see. We're already 3 down, and we got 4 to go. So we got to turn it around. What's the next one, Otaku?
Well, I feel confident that this might turn the tide. We're going to talk about Sentenced to be a Hero. So this show is airing on Crunchyroll. It is done by Studio Kai. And one thing I noticed, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but when I was watching the first episode, I was like, this animation style looks a lot like Mushoku Tensei to me. Like a lot.
I think maybe 5 seconds in, I was like, this is very much giving me Jobless Reincarnation vibes.
Well, there's a reason. It's because some of the staff from season 1 of Mushoku Tensei are now at Studio Kai. So our little goddess definitely looks pretty much like if you took child Eris and gave her blonde hair instead of the red hair, it's literally that character. In appearance, not in behavior necessarily. But anyways, this is an anime adaptation. And it follows our immortal heroes, Xylo Forbrance and I think it's Dada Luzulus. So they're supposed to be helping the Holy Knights escape from, I guess, a demonic blight would be the best way to describe it. And it basically turns, it does almost kind of like a Princess Mononoke, where it turns animals that are exposed to the blight into monsters, and they call them fairies in the show. So basically, the first episode, like we talked about early in the episode, was actually 48 minutes. And I thought that it started off very strongly with the action. So they discover a coffin that they retrieve from the knights, and inside they find this little blonde goddess, and her name is the pronunciation is going to kill me. It starts with a Teo.
I would help you out, but I am so unconfident in how it's Teorita, something
Teorita.
like that.
But anyways, she is your typical. You want a cute mascot. If she was a creature, she would probably work a little bit better. But she pops out, and basically, Xylo ends up using her as a weapon. Did you guys notice that her power feels a lot like Gilgamesh's ability in Fate Grand Order?
There was a lot of overlap in aesthetics,
a lot of overlap
between that and watching Fate.
So, but basically, she powers, helps them get out of that battle, and instantly demands head pat. So it starts off such a strong dark fantasy. There's a lot of death. There's a lot of there's no censoring of the violence that occurs in this show. People are getting eaten, monsters are getting destroyed, and once the battle settles, the dust settles, you start to find out a little bit more about our main character, Xylo. He reveals to Teorita that he's actually an ex-Holy Knight who murdered his former goddess. Her name was Sinerva. And in a flashback of his trial at the end of the episode, he insists that he euthanized his goddess to prevent her from becoming part of the blight. But they ignore him, and what do? In this world, they sentence him to be a hero, which basically means you are doomed to fight on the front lines of the blight, just being resurrected time after time after time. And then once they clear that first episode, it goes into basically their next step in the operation, which is trying to clear a mine of some fairies. And Teorita uh, tags along with that as well. So what I will say is this. I think this is leaning into some of the dark fantasy stuff that I talked about that I wanted to see more of. It's a darker world. Not everything is rose colored and happy. There's very clear, like, hey, we have to take on the blight. This is my role. And I think it's very interesting that they call them heroes as a punishment. But I found myself I was very captivated, and I watched every episode. I'm looking forward to the next one, and I've enjoyed it so far. So what do you guys think of, Sentenced to be a Hero so far?
Well, I've been thoroughly distracted by Studio Kai's Mal page because I realized they made a Horimiya OVA in 2012 that I didn't know existed, as well as season 3 of Uma Musume Pretty Derby. So we're in good hands with these folks. So, I mean, I only watched the first episode because I figured, as part of, they gave us a full length premiere, 50 something minutes. So that's all I watched, and I just sat there and just threw my hands up and like, this is it. This is cinema. We're here. We found it.
Cinema.
Beyond the production, because that's obvious to anyone who has eyes, I would say. Just the fact that they take this fantasy world and go in more interesting places than they need to. Having the blight affect other creatures to make the monsters is visually more interesting. It's story-wise, with the goddess being corrupted, is more interesting. The fact that the resurrection is a punishment beyond just the fact that they have to keep fighting, that every time they get resurrected, they lose a little tiny bit of their sanity. And I look forward to hopefully watching that play out as we see characters in varying states of mental disarray. It's just like these little extra world building touches that are, even from the first episode, you can see it following through in the story that takes it to that extra level beyond your run of the mill fantasy show.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty good. I'm not completely sold on it. So to me, going back to what you said, Otaku, like, did you wish Jobless Reincarnation had a little less problematic perviness and are willing to sacrifice a bit of nuance? You'll probably like this show a lot. It's mostly good. There are a couple things that I'm a little not so sold on. I actually started the episode and I was like, oh, this is like a 3.5 probably. Like, it's really solid. The production was great, visuals were great, but I wasn't sold on like the story. You mentioned the goddess's powers similar to Fate. I mean, Xylo's like tattoos on his hands look just like the command seals in Fate. So like, I felt like they were kind of borrowing from that too much. Dota, the guy who like steals exactly what they need all the time, felt like very Deus-esque Monica, where like, oh, we need a big bomb. Oh, I just stole a big bomb. I need a goddess. I just stole a goddess. Like, it felt a little too convenient and more about getting to the action, and I wasn't really completely sold on it. The end of the episode 1 came through, and I was like much more like, oh, this is more interesting about why Xylo is the way he is, why he's so antagonistic and withdrawn. I like the whole, like Otaku said, hero as a form of punishment. Like, it's not a term of endearment. If you are a hero, that's not a good thing in this world, and that's interesting. The blight, how it impacts people, how it forces monsters to be the way they are, the way there's so many of them. That's all interesting, and I was like, okay, back on 4. I like this show a lot. But then I watched episode 2, and it's going through the mind, and it does look markedly worse in the production. Like, they really did get my hopes up perhaps a bit too high with the first one, and now I'm back reserved. At the end of the day, I still think it's worth watching. I still think it's good. I think there's ideas that they have not shown yet. I think it's just not quite as refined as I would like to see this be, maybe in just the pacing. Maybe they're just too eager to get to fights, and I just don't like the goddess too much. She's a little too head pats. Would you like to give me a head pat now? And it's like, it's gonna end with a big head pat right before he kills her or something. Like, it'll be fine by the end. It's a solid show. I think it's one of the better ones. I think we should pass it. I mean, we talked about it like 5 times before we even got to this impression. All this to say, I do have some reservations, and I have like a cowardly way out if it ends up being disappointing. It can be like, I told you guys, it actually wasn't that good. It's a decent show. I say we pass it. What say you?
Easy,
Absolutely.
easy,
Yeah.
easy pass.
Then here we go.
Groovy. Yeah.
So, Sentenced to be a Hero, locked down, one of the shows we will be reviewing from the winter. Can we keep the good times coming? The next show is also written by the same person who did Sentenced to be a Hero, and that's Scum of the Brave. This was one of my picks, and essentially it takes place in modern day Tokyo, where magic has kind of become injectable to people. Like, you take little syringe shots and you gain magical powers. The mafia, bad people, started doing this, so you need good people who are trained in the ways of magic to fight off the bad people, demon lords and stuff, to keep the peace. And we follow, very similar to Xylo, this other guy who's kind of withdrawn from the world of being a savior and is kind of a jerkwad, who gets roped in to a peppy trio of high school girls who are all personally trained to fight off this evil. Similar to trained soldiers, I guess women are more, I'm trying to think of the word.
Attuned
to the magical boosting properties. So most of the heroes here are high school girls, and he gets roped into kind of guiding them along the way, takes them on as apprentices, as a sort of thing, as they go around defeating supernatural scumbags. And unfortunately, by the time I got to this show, we have a spreadsheet that the podcast kind of people put their scores in so we can know, hey, what are we generally vibing at? And I looked at Raggedy's score of this before I even watched the show, and I saw not a high number, and I was expecting something egregiously bad. And with that maybe misattuned assumptions, I went into this and it came away saying, like, this is not offensive, but it's just a pretty lacking show. And I'm pretty ambivalent to what's going on here. It's a lamer, edgier version of Detective These Days Are Crazy, which has like the roughly aging male character paired with the energetic high school girl. And it's just not that memorable. And Raggedy, why'd you not like this show so much? Because it's not good. But why is it not good?
I mean, part of my low score is I find that when shows are bland and boring, I find that more offensive than them being outright bad. That's kind of my take on it for why this is of spoilers, I guess, for how I'm going to vote on this. Was my lowest rated show for impressions by far. They still somehow managed to work in the video gamification to this show without it being an isekai. I don't like the aesthetic really at all. The cuts they make for the fights I find lackluster. The actual story itself is very bland. The fact that this is the same, I can see how this is the same guy who did Sentenced to be a Hero, because I looked up when this was made. This was originally from 2016 when he wrote Scum of the Brave. And when he wrote Sentenced to be a Hero, it was 2021. This is clearly someone who has vastly improved over 5 years. This is very much a first draft, a first attempt at trying to get publishing something, and still not really knowing where to go with it. There's too much stuff thrown in at once, because there's the Braves, there's these demon lords that they decided to name the mafiosas for some reason. And then they have their henchmen, and they have their own different ways of injecting their powers. And then you throw in the school element for some reason. Like, why do we need My Hero Academia attached to this as well? It's too much, it's too sloppy, and somehow still too bland.
I want more trading card games, and if they were on motorcycles, then I'd be sold. But it's a lot of nothing. It's a lot of noise without much value. But Otaku, what do you think about it?
I think it tried to combine a lot of concepts to make it cool. And I think it really is trying to lean hard into it. Instead of cute girls doing cute things, this is cute girls fighting bad guys. And it's just not enough. Like, in the very first episode, when her name escapes me because it's that unmemorable. But the purple-haired girl who first confronts the mobsters, she like falls off the top of the building and lands like right on her head and just stays in that pose for a second. And I was like, okay, this is already unserious. And then, I don't mind the fact that his power boost is an injection. I mean, we've seen it's a sci-fi trope that is used quite frequently. It's just a lot of nothing. None of the first episodes I watched was just like, oh, I'm looking forward to this. I can see where this is going. I think it's just trying to be lean into the cute girls and cool powers, but it just lands flat. It's a piece of white bread with no butter, no toast. It's just not enough. There's so much better stuff. So I can comfortably fail this if you guys can.
Yeah, I don't think it needs too much more discussion.
Pretty easy.
Scum of the Brave. This ain't it, Chief.
That is one big pile of shit.
All right, we are down to the final 2 shows of our impressions episode. What do we got next?
Let's get strange with it, shall we?
Ooh.
With Fate, Strange, Fake. Here's what I would say about this series. Fate is a very, very difficult series to get into. There is no good starting point, really, of any kind. So, on the flip side, there's no bad starting point. So, I would say if you are a Fater, you could start here. If you have no idea what's going on, you'll figure it out. Fate Strange Fake is a imperfect Holy Grail war. Basically, the Holy Grail war is when a bunch of mages try to claim the Holy Grail by using servants from history as their weapons, so to speak. This is a fake version of that, where an imperfect war is started by a bunch of filthy Americans that we lose a few things. We lose one of the classes. Usually there's 7. This time there's 6. And other things like that are going to be a little bit stranger, hence the name. The thing of real interest to point out here, 2 things. One, this is done by A1 Pictures, and they put some solo leveling dollars behind this production. The other thing is the writer for the novel or the light novel that this is based off of, which is Ryoga Narita, which, for those who don't know, is the writer behind Baccano and Durarara. So if you want to see someone who knows how to do America but anime, this is the guy you go to.
With a big cast of characters, with a lot of people bouncing off each other.
Oh yeah,
he's a good person. Yeah.
This is the guy you want to do this, and this is, I would argue, other than short of unlimited budget works taking on this project, this is probably the only other studio, or close to the only other studio, you'd want this project to be in the hands of. The production looks great. I already really enjoyed these characters. I watched Whispers of Dawn when this first came out. I want to say a year and a half ago.
23.
Yeah,
3 years ago.
23.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's that long.
Holy shit. Yeah, so I watched that back then. I watched the one episode they released last year, those fucking assholes, because this was also on my impressions list last
yeah.
when they did this. But now it's here, and I'm enjoying it. I have not watched past the first episode yet because I want to really sit down and sink my teeth into this property. And whether we pass it or not, I'm still going to be watching it.
So I think... Go ahead, Otaku.
I was going to say, I know that Andrew and I are probably 2 of the bigger Fate fans on the podcast. I still play Fate Granddaughter, so of course this had my attention at the word Fate. But, it could be a hit, it could be a miss. But Raggedy is correct. The concept of a Holy Grail War never changes from Fate installment to Fate installment. I will say that if you want a good starting place, I would say Unlimited Blade Works is probably a good place to start. That's probably the most viewer-friendly one. Or Zero. You could do Zero.
Come on,
there's
no, no,
lots.
no, no, no. It's clearly the visual novels.
It's clearly today's menu for
Yes,
the Emiya family.
especially the uncensored visual novels. Make sure you get the uncensored version of the visual novel because it's definitely not hentai. Absolutely not hentai. But I like where this is going. Obviously, if it's Fate, you got to have a Gilgamesh, you got to have a Saber. I'm not going to spoil something about Saber's identity because I think that's something that you would like. If anybody's interested in this, there are some lingering questions. Some of the things that are cool about summoning of the heroes, they're divided into classes. You have riders, you have assassins, berserkers, sabers, lancers, and so a lot of times they're historic people from the past that are brought back to assist, their master in the Holy Grail War. Those are some of the kind of like the basic tenets, and this leans fully into the Fate, method. And you've got your assassins, you've got your saber. There's references to King Arthur, Enkidu, and Gilgamesh are always tied together. So I think the only thing this suffered from was the gaps. Like Raggedy is rightfully outraged that they would release one part of this project 2023. Then at the end of 2024, we get episode 1. And then for some reason, January 2025 is when we get episode 2. I don't ever know why Fate does what it does, but even with the time gaps, it still sticks all the Fate landings that we look for. It looks great. The story's interesting. I would say that for those who want to try, it is a good place to dip your toes into the Fate water because it's not really tied into any particular singularity or storyline. So I've liked what I've seen so far.
Half the fun of Fate is trying to figure out who each of the heroic spirits are and how they're tied to their class. I do really like how we have the second time now a Jack the Ripper, now in a different class, and I would argue a way more interesting version of Jack the Ripper than was in Fate Apocrypha, when it was Assassin of Black. Not nearly as interesting. This is way more interesting version. I haven't watched more than, like I said, 0 and 1, but there are definitely some things in here that will be very confusing to a new watcher. So while I said anyone can jump on, that was a little bit of a joke. There are characters and things that they will not explain to you, and you either have to figure it out on your own or go back and watch something that has it already to figure that out.
This is a good show. I don't think we should review it. This is not a season 1. This is not a season 2. I disagree that this would be a good starting point because one of the biggest appeals of this is that it's an atypical Holy Grail War. The whole point of it is that it's not quite like how it usually is. And if you don't know how things usually are, the differences aren't appealing because there's no frame of reference. It's a parody in a sense, not like Carnival Phantasm, but it's a twist on things. But if you don't know how things are untwisted, you can't really come in and appreciate, oh, it's Jack the Ripper, but different this time. It's this, but different this time. Sabers not be who they be this time. And already, you really do need to watch the 2023 episode 0 Whispers of Dawn. So calling this a fresh reboot is already muddy at best. I think if you liked Fate, don't pass this up. This is actually quite engaging, quite entertaining. There all are some small quirks I have with it and things I don't like, but then they play a Sawano song and I'm like, okay, yeah, he's doing the music. It sounds good. It looks good. It feels good. This is what Sentenced to Be a Hero is going for a lot of the time, but why would I just go to Fate? They are doing Fate good. They're doing it well. I was very skeptical of A1. They are doing a pretty darn good job most of the time, so I gotta give it to them. This is a good show. Watch it if you like Fate. I feel like it's for Fate fans first and foremost, and we already have talked Babylonia and Unlimited Blade Works, and I just feel like it's tread ground despite it being enjoyable and good. So if you guys want to pass it, it's a good show. Why would we not pass it? I don't know. I just want to review other stuff. So I'm going to say fail. despite enjoying it and probably continuing to watch it.
Unfortunately, Mason, you're stuck here with us.
I'm trapped in here with you.
And I'm going to pass it, baby.
Yeah, if it's got the Fate name on it, I'm gonna pass it. I am a mark, but it's okay. You'll enjoy the ride, Mason. I feel it'll reward you for your time.
It's fine. But then I'm like, well, why don't we just review JoJo Part 7? It's actually a reboot. Like, actually,
Hey,
like a
Mason,
whole universe reset.
Mason, I'm soft launching the Part 7. Don't worry about it.
Okay, don't worry. Okay. Fate, Strange, Fake, Dance Its Way to Glory.
Ooh, that's a bingo.
Perfect. We got 2 shows now we will be passing, we will be reviewing, but we got one more show trying to get its foot in the door. Hell's Paradise Season 2. Lay it on us.
All right. So this is a Studio Mappa production. So you already know it's probably going to look really good. But this is Hell's Paradise. And as I mentioned earlier in the episode, it is pretty much directly continuing where we finished in season 1. So they mention it in the first episode that 2 days have passed since the original group of captives are dropped off on the island. So we're still going to be working with Gabimaru, and the whole point of this is to obtain the elixir of life. And I mean, the show looks fantastic. To my knowledge, it's only got the 2 episodes still so far, if I'm not mistaken. I think
episode 3 is today.
Yeah, episode 3 is supposed to drop today. But I will say this, it pretty much our party is divided. Sagiri is with one group and Gabimaru is with his. It pretty much is just going to keep going where the story left off. I will say that all the fight scenes that I've seen in the first 2 episodes so far, I mean, it's Mappa. It looks really, really good. And I enjoyed season 1 of Hell's Paradise. My only issue is that, is it enough? I don't know if it's enough for us to pass it. Like, are we passing 3 shows on this episode and then leaving others to chance with viewers' choice? I think it's worth watching and reviewing for sure. I just don't know if it's worth passing or leaving it to the viewers to make us watch. But I mean, so far, Gabimaru's fight with Chobe it looked awesome. It's Mappa. And so I guess, I don't know, what did you guys think? Did you like where the story's going, like being the direct continuation after season 1 ends? Do you like how it looks, how it feels? I will say the opener is a certified bop. The animation in the opening sequence, also amazing, especially if you have Govi lights like I do. It's a fire opening. But what do you guys think?
This show screams listener choice candidate for me. I love the beastly, bloody brutality with the pink-purple color palette. Visually, it's just a feast of a show. I was enjoying season 1 when it was coming out, like, all those years ago. But really, at the end of season 1, I thought it got too laden down with the Tao and this mystical system, and then Gabimaru's, like, recollection ability, to put it mildly, at the end just really kind of dampened my enjoyment and kind of hamstrung any excitement I had for season 2. And while I'm kind of glad it's back, I don't feel this drive to watch it, this urge to be like, oh, I gotta watch the next episode right away. It's just kind of decent, and I don't know, it has so much going for it, but I'm just not drawn to it in so many, like I am so many other shows. So I'm just like, yeah, it's decent. There's too many other shows this season that I think deserve a lock-in review that I can't give it to this one.
This is the show I struggled with the most of our 7. 2 of them were easy passes for me. The other ones were easy fails. This is the one where I look at it and I see something that I enjoy. I enjoy the fights. I eat up that power system, bullshit. That's like right up my alley. I even
If
like
you
how
have
it
a
was.
shonen and I have a shonen, my straw reaches all the way across the room into your shonen, and I drink your shonen up.
I would say that I even like how they integrate the system where you kind of are exposed to it without knowing what it is and then have to learn about it on the back half. I always appreciate it when shows do that instead of like what Scum of the Brave did and just info dumped it in the first 5 seconds. Um, and season 2 is just it's a good continuation of season 1. There are issues that I have of things that I really liked about things that I was originally enjoying about season 1 that I was given pause. Some of Gabimaru's we'll say relationships I found very fascinating, and I am now starting to see that maybe they're going to a more traditional direction with how some of those character dynamics are going to play out, which I do not like, because that is not only is it going to something that's kind of normal, you're taking away something that was good and now replacing it with kind of the same old, same old. What I would say is this is the kind of show best left to the professionals. Let your true brain rotted shonen heads sink their teeth into it and enjoy it, but I don't know if there's much to really pull at for a review.
Yeah, I think we say if you haven't checked it out, if you definitely haven't checked out season 1 and you're into some violent, vicious stuff, give it a shot. It's unique in enough ways that I would say it's recommendable, but I don't know with this strong season if it's going to make the cut. Give it a shot, and if you really do like it and you're a ride and die for Hell's Paradise, make sure you vote when we release a listener's choice poll in just a couple weeks. But are we all good to fail it?
Yeah, and I would not be opposed to this listener's choice. This would be a fantastic listener's choice.
Not disappointed.
Yeah, looking at you, listeners.
It's on you, because we are too cowardly to do it ourselves.
Shame. 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 Shame.
Hell, half the reason I passed Fate was because I can't trust you fuckers to give me that.
Fair enough. And with that, it means that we end the first episode of Impressions, passing Sentence to Be a Hero and Fate Strange Fake. That leaves 4 shows for us hosts to pass before you listeners get the final 3. And that will do it for episode 814 of the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Hopefully you've had a grand old time. We got to get to shoveling, so we'll get out of here. But make sure you join us next week, where we're doing another week of impressions, including Medalist Season 2. Does it count if you lose your virginity to an android? No. Ichigo Aika, The Casebook of Arn, Jack of All Trades, Party of None, The Holy Grail of Eris, Journal with Witch, and Wash It All Away. Thank you, Otaku. Thank you, Raggedy, for sticking with us. Go to AAAPodcast.com for all the juicy stuff. Join the Discord, join us live, and we will see you in the next episode. Goodbye.
Stay toasty.